Hi, Jackie. So it helps just to see the horse loose so I can see what it naturally does. And in most of these, she was cantering, but at least I can see she can hold her lead in the front and the back. So that's very good. And she looks like a very nicely bred walking horse. When she's walking, she does have a fair amount of overreach. So she's reaching up with her back legs over her front hoof print, but they're supposed to do that. And she looks like a pretty mellow horse, especially for age 5. She looks very mellow. With her back legs, she does have that walking horse back end, you know, with the overreach. And she does have some ringing of her hocks, which I'll try to catch in another video, which just means that her hocks kind of go out as she's moving forward, but that's bred into a lot of them. Now I want you to watch here. This is just for your education. As she's walking, you're gonna see something move kind of right in here. That's just her stifle. That happens a lot when they have these hocks that, you know, they're kind of cow hocks, so their hocks kind of come in and their toes go out. And the walking horses are loose in the stifle. But see, watch this area when I turn this on and see if you can see it. So right now, did you see that? So that's just for your education. Nothing looks wrong with your horse, but sometimes if these horses aren't worked on hills or they're not engaging themselves, then the muscles around their stifles will get looser and their stifles will either start giving out or locking up. So that's just so you know. But otherwise, I didn't see her stifles give out during the video. And I mostly saw her cantering and walking some. I never saw her trot or pace when she was loose, but that might have been just because of the speed that she was going. Okay, so now you're riding her. So the thing with the pivot, sometimes when you have it in a corner like this and you get real close, it stops tracking you. And so it would be best to put it on a tripod and put it in the middle and then put it on horse mode, and it'll probably track you much better. But it was difficult to watch what you're doing because it just kept coming in and out of you, and it was taking so long. I was trying to scan ahead. So I couldn't see what you were doing when you were off the camera at all, of course. But from what I could see, I know you said you're a beginner, but you ride very well. You got your hands positioned well. You're looking up most of the time where you're going. You know, you're sitting up nice and tall, your shoulders are over your hips. So all of that looks very good. And I know you have spurs on, so she's probably a little bit more of a dull horse. And I know you have the little brig on just to help keep her head down. I wasn't sure what kind of snaffle bit she was in, so I was just curious of that. But otherwise, position-wise and you riding, all of that looks very good. Most of the video, she's just doing the trail walk. I occasionally saw you hit a flat walk, and I didn't see you go any faster than that. And when she was doing the flat walk, I did not see her go out of gate. She wasn't pacing or trotting or anything like that. It's just working on her holding the speed. So let me rewind that so you can see her back end. So I just want you to watch as you're turning her, just for your education. Watch her back legs. See how they kind of go in and out? That's just called ringing of the hocks, but a lot of the walking horses will have that, okay? So when you're walking around and just doing her trail walk, everything looks good. I'm gonna give you a routine to do because I don't know if you know if you have a routine, but the horses get very bored just walking around this over and over again. So we want to give them things to do like patterns and circles and leg yields or spiraling or making flower patterns. So if you're in the round pen, I'll give you my round pen routine, and then if you have questions about it, I can go over it with you. But head carriage and all of that, it looks like a very nice mare. It looks like she's been trained well. She's responding to you when you're asking her to stop and stand and all of that. So this is just the speed of her trail walk. Oops, now you stopped. You do stop a fair amount, you know, with your horse, which is good to reward it. But with her being so young, I would try to work more so you can use some of her energy up. And even if she is a dull horse, we want to start waking her up and making her use her body and use her muscles. And it's fine that you're just in a round pen, we can do it in here, but we want to have a program so we can build her up and make sure she's going to gait well and she's using her muscles and her body correctly. Now, the only thing, when you turn here, I wasn't sure if you were trying to do a turn on the haunches, which means the hindquarter stays still and the front end turns around, or if you were trying to do a turn on the forehand. So I'm going to rewind it back for a second. So if you're doing a turn on the haunches, you want to look up and look the direction you want to go. So you're turning that way. So you would turn your head in this direction. With your hands, if you're doing a turn on the haunches, which means the hind quarter stays still and the front end walks around, both your hands are going to come to the inside. This leg comes off of your horse, and you would be pushing with your left leg right at the girth to push her shoulders over in this direction. If you're trying to do a turn on the forehand, which means the front end stays still and the back end walks around, when you're next to a fence, you actually have to turn towards the fence so they can move their hind quarter. So if that's what you were trying to do, because I wasn't sure, and you can always talk to the video or say something as you go by, and then I'll have an idea of what you're doing. But if you're doing a turn on the forehand, then you want to turn your head to the left, that direction. Use just a little left rein. This rein just supports and kind of follows. This leg would be off, your right leg would be off, and you would bring your left leg a couple of inches behind the girth and then press with that left leg to make her hind quarter turn until you're facing the opposite direction. So again, I just wasn't sure which kind of turn you were asking her to do. But as you turn here, again, you want to look up where you want to go and then make sure you're asking her correctly. So if you're trying to move those shoulders, it looks like you're using this leg and not this leg. So I think you were using the wrong leg. You should have been pressing with that left leg to push her shoulders over. Okay? But you keep it right at the girth. Again, if you're pushing the hindquarters, you bring the leg back. But you want to decide which you're doing and then be clear so she doesn't get confused, because even trained horses can get very confused if we are giving them the wrong cues. So that's a closer speed to the flat walk, but that's still not a flat walk. So she still has to go a fair amount faster to do her flat walk. Okay, so right here, you start doing the speed of your flat walk. Right there. So see her head shaking up and down, and now she's stepping up and you got more motion in the saddle. And then I lost. So it's just a little hard to critique because I keep trying to scan to get it, to come up. And then I don't see a lot of it. So again, put the pivot in the middle and I'll be able to see a lot more. So that's closer to your flat walk. And she has a pretty good head carriage. We don't want it to get too low, so you're correct to kind of lift her head up when it gets way down. So there, if you're going for a flat walk, she's a little bit more strung out and kind of getting lanky. So I would try to get her to use herself more to engage her back end. If she doesn't respond to your leg, then I would carry a dressage whip and give her little taps with it if she's ignoring your leg. Because again, at least from the video, and sometimes it's hard to tell, she looks like a pretty quiet horse. And some of the horses are like that. You got to push them, but when they know you're going to push them and get after them, then they can move out really, really well. So, like, she's a nice mover and everything. She's just not really engaging and using herself. But most of the time, she's going slow, so that makes all the sense. So even here, that's still a little too slow for your flat walk. So now you're getting closer to the speed of the flat walk, but I would still go like 1 mile per hour faster than you were just going. So the rest of the turns that I've seen you do through the arena, all of that looks like you're riding it and doing it correctly. There she looks like she was starting a flat walk. Okay, now here when you started going, oh, I might have scanned it too far. It looked like you started getting your flat walk, and then it looked like you half halted, and then she came out of it. I don't know if you felt that she was going too fast or it was too bumpy or what exactly happened. Hopefully you'll come into the camera soon. So there she's a little too slow. Right there's her flat walk, and then you half halted, and then she slowed way down again. Okay, so now she's back to just a regular trail walk. So the hard part, you might have gone faster in some of the video. I just don't see it. It's not in my end of the video, so I'm not able to tell you. I'm thinking that she might have gotten a little pacey when you were out of view, but I'm not positive. Okay, and now she's just going slow again. Okay, so what I'm going to do is give you a routine to do in your round pen, because I think that's all you have to ride in. And then I'm going to give you a printout of this. So what I would do is when you come in, you want to come in and you just want to walk around once or twice one direction and once or twice the other direction. That's just at your regular slow trail walk, okay? And then what I'm going to have you do is you're going to walk around the arena and you're going to make circles. So you'll come off the rail, you'll come to the center, and then go right back out. So they're small circles, they're about 10 meters. So you would come out, walk the circle, go straight, go down another panel, walk a circle, go straight, go down another panel, walk a circle, and do that all the way around the arena. So you're going to end up making 4 to 6 circles around the arena, okay? Then what I would do is serpentine, and when you serpentine, you're going to come off the rail like you're trying to make a circle, and then you're going to weave back on. So you'll bend to the right, it'll be right rein, right leg, and then it's going to be left rein, left leg to go back on the rail. And then to come off the rail, right rein, right leg, and then left leg, left rein to go back on the rail. So what you're doing is simply just weaving on and off the rail. The circles and the serpentine are called lateral movements, and I have this all printed out that I can send you to if you haven't seen that on my website, and that'll explain how to do it, and then I also have videos. But the circles and serpentines and lateral movements help a lot if a horse is getting pacey under saddle. And again, I couldn't tell because I never saw her go faster, but I thought I saw one little clip of her going a little faster, and it looked like she was possibly pacing. So if she wasn't, just let me know. So then you do that serpentine all the way around the arena. Then what I'm going to have you do is called the flower pattern. And if I can find the video, I have it somewhere of me doing it. And what it is, it's just a steering exercise. You're still going to do this at the trail walk. But what you do is you cut straight across the arena. You go through the center each time. So you can always put a cone in the middle if you need to mark your center. But say you're going around the arena to the right, like you are in this video, you'd cut across, straight across the arena. Then as you get into the wall on the other side, you'd look to the right, turn your horse to the right, and then go right back through the middle and then across to the other side in a different spot. When you get there, you're going to look to the right, turn to the right, and go right back through the middle, and then you'd go across like this. Once you're getting to the fence over here, you'd turn your head to the right and then right rein and right leg and turn your horse, and you're going to cut back through the middle again. So it's called the flower because all you're doing is making like petals. So you're going across and then you're coming this way and then you're coming this way. So it makes like a petal. And what it is, it's a very good steering exercise. But when you do it with a walking horse, when you make those turns, you want to sit back and hold your horse because you kind of help them with their back end. They don't make sharp turns well. So you want to kind of collect and hold your horse as you're making those turns. So you do that and you make like anywhere from 4 to 6 to 10 petals, okay? Then walk around and practice just walking, stopping, and backing your horse up. And I always like to teach them to stop from my seat and breathing. So as I walk, before I go to stop them, I take my leg off, I sit back, I say, whoa, then I pull if they have not stopped. Then after I've stopped, I back the horse up anywhere from 3 to 5 steps. I walk off, walk like 10 steps, and do it again. And you can repeat that 3 to 5 times. It gives your horse a good whoa. It helps to lighten their front end. It helps to teach them to engage their back end, and it helps to use the muscles around here in her stifles and in her hind quarter to make that area stronger, okay? Then what I would do after that is stop, do a turn on the forehand so that you're going to keep the front end still. And if you were going this direction, you'd use your left rein and then your left leg behind the girth, push her hind quarter over until her hind quarter is here. you're facing that way, so it's a 180-degree turn. And then you're going to repeat everything in the opposite direction to the left, okay? After you've done that, do another turn on the forehand, and then you can stop and rest your horse. Then what I would have you do is go up to a flat walk. So you're going to have to get her to start moving some. If she's very quiet, again, carry a dressage whip. And the dressage whips are long whips because the advantage of them, it goes in your hand and then it's on your leg. And then it would be the end of the stick is right here. So if she's not going, you just wiggle it a little bit. If she doesn't respond to that, you give her light taps and just keep tapping her harder until she responds. You want to get a fast enough walk that you're moving back and forth in the saddle. Her head is shaking up and down. She has pretty good head carriage, so if she carries her head like this, that would be fine, at least until I see the video. And what you want to do is time it and see if you can keep her at a consistent walk for 5 minutes around the arena. If that's too long for you and her, then try to get 3 minutes. But what I've seen in the video is just, it's not consistent. So we want to let her flat walk and get her to use those muscles, but we have to go long enough that she's actually engaging and using herself. So anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, then I would stop her and do a turn on the haunches. And that's the turn I was talking about before, where the hindquarters stay still. Your hands are going to come this direction, your right leg comes off, and your left leg is going to push right at the girth, push your shoulders over, and then it's a 180, so you'll be facing the other direction, and then you're going to flat walk 5 minutes in that direction, or 3 to 5 minutes in that direction, keeping it consistent. When you're flat walking, you should have a pretty good squeeze with your leg to get her going, and then it should be a light pressure against her so she knows to keep going. If she doesn't keep going, then you want to use a little spur or a stick to encourage her to keep going, because you should not be working hard that whole time. She should understand that if she doesn't walk forward, then that you're going to get after her and give her little taps with the stick. After you've done that flat walk 3 to 5 minutes, if you haven't done any of this before, then you can stop and just quit with that and tell her she's a good girl. Once you can do this routine and then you've got the flat walk up to 5 minutes and she's doing that really well, then we can start to work at her running walk. If she is pacey, then go to Home Depot and get some of those poles I keep talking about. They're in the yard section or the landscaping area, and just ask them where their poles are. They're not that expensive and they're easy to move around. So if she is pacey, then when we go to do her running walk, I'm gonna have you set up some poles in the arena, like 12 feet apart, and you can just place them all around the arena, and that'll help to separate her legs, which will help to smooth out her running walk if she is pacing. But again, if you can get another video and if you can put that pivot in the middle, I'll be able to see a lot more. And all you're gonna do, if you're not sure, is just, talk to the phone as you go by, like, Gaye, I'm doing the flower pattern now. Is that correct? Gaye, I'm doing the serpentine. Is this correct? So I know what you're trying to do. It just helps me to understand, so I don't think you're doing something that you're not actually doing. And then the same thing, like, Gaye, I'm doing my flat walk now. Is this the correct speed? And then I'll tell you to go faster, slower, so we make sure you're working on the correct thing. I think you're a very nice rider. You sit pretty. Someone has taught you to ride well. You carry your hands well. You have a very nice horse. She's very beautiful, and I'm sure she's going to have excellent gaits. It's just us making sure we're doing the right thing and that she's understanding everything. And the thing I was talking about with her back legs ringing, don't worry about that. A lot of walking horses have that. I just point it out because a lot of vets think it's neurologic, and it's in the breeding lines in many of these walking horses, okay? And they breed that, and they breed the cowhock so the horses can reach way up with their back feet and not step on their front feet so much. So I just want you to know that because I hear so many vets say things about the walking horses, okay? And then the poles also, just so you know, not only will it help her running walk, it's going to help her stifles as well, because we want to make sure these muscles are really strong around those stifles, so her stifles don't start giving out if you're not riding her on the hills or riding her on the trail where she would really use herself. Okay, I'll send you that, and you let me know if you have questions, and then I'll send you other videos to kind of help with the turn on the forehand and stuff.